Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Raven Payne.
Los Angeles may be known for its traffic, but one organization regularly shuts down major streets. The Paradise Valley School District needs at least 37 bus drivers to drive this fleet of buses. Until then, they, like many other school districts, are changing schedules, remapping routes, and doing whatever they can to make sure they can get kids to school. Advocates and refugees gathered at the state capitol to educate lawmakers about what life is like for refugees coming to Arizona. Now, according to the Director of Transportation for PV schools, there are only about 70 bus drivers for 28,000 students in the district, and they're working hard to fill these seats. If you like little animals, there's a new cutie that you can find romping around the Phoenix Zoo. Here he is. This is the adorable young rhinoceros the zoo is calling Chuty the Cutie. They counted just over 7,400 people experiencing homelessness in Maricopa County. Just based on what we saw this morning, our count volunteer says there were less people out than previous years. The researchers who go by the acronym AZ Heroes looked at over 1,700 Arizona first responders, healthcare workers, and other essential workers to see how many contracted COVID-19. Cooks here at Chicanas por la Causa cook around 60 to 100 meals per day for around 100 clients. Now, those meals can range from anything from shrimp ceviche, turkey burgers, and even shepherd's pie. One Arizona representative is in the spotlight for a different matter. That's Republican Paul Gosar, whose response to a bill pledging support for Ukrainians is now raising concern. Representative Gosar was one of 3 Republican House members to reject a bill that would declare American support for Ukraine and call for a ceasefire to the war. We have team coverage tonight. Joey Vaca is in Los Angeles to show us how LA's Ukrainian community is working to gather supplies to send to the war-torn country. But we start with Nick Shesky, who was at the state capitol today as the Ukraine Consul General spoke to Arizona's House and Senate. The cost of trucking, the time it takes for these trees to mature to be able to ship, and the severe weather in the Northwest where they get these from will make it a little bit harder for you to get these trees in your home this year. A different kind of surfing competition took place in Huntington Beach, California. Surfing dogs take over the beach and the competition when we come back. Los Angeles may be known for its traffic, but one organization regularly shuts down major streets to give locals car-free days. Los Angeles reporter Amanda Day brings us to an open street day to show us how this can be good for the environment. You probably recall the chilly temps and rain in the valley throughout much of the day yesterday, but parts of the state even saw snow. Here you're looking at the slopes at Arizona's Snow Bowl in Flagstaff. That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. The Paradise Valley School District needs at least 37 bus drivers to drive this fleet of buses. Until then, they, like many other school districts, are changing schedules, remapping routes, and doing whatever they can to make sure they can get kids to school. School bus driver shortages are not new to districts, but there are fewer drivers in these seats because of the pandemic. According to Paradise Valley School District Director of Transportation, Brandon George, the pandemic caused unpredictability.
I think the pandemic and the uncertainties of what may or may not happen caused a lot of people to leave the industry.
PV school district drivers now have to take double or even triple shifts or work longer hours every day.
There's no time for breaks. I mean, I'm just steady running the whole time. In the afternoon, I leave at 1:30 or 1:45, and I don't shut the bus off till 5:15 or 5:30.
Now, according to the Director of Transportation for PV schools, there are only about 70 bus drivers for 28,000 students in the district, and they're working hard to fill these seats.
We are doing a lot of advertisement. We put these signs on the buses. We have 40 signs we purchased, 20 on sped buses, and 20 on transit buses. We also use social media.
PV School District is also offering higher pay to attract more drivers.
What they're doing right now, they're giving us a $15 addenda, so it'll total to $75 a week, $300 a month.
With great retirement, 15 paid holidays off, and so much more, who wouldn't want to drive some kiddos around? Requirements to become a bus driver include a clear driving record of at least 5 years, proof of vaccination, and letters of recommendation. The Paradise Valley School District is also hiring for non-driving bus aides to assist special education students who ride the bus. In Paradise Valley, Payne, Cronkite News. According to the National Low-Income Housing Coalition, there is a shortage of more than 136,000 affordable rental homes in Arizona. The reality of these numbers is that incoming refugees will find it difficult to find shelter. Muhammad Asif Hadari came to the United States from Afghanistan 12 months ago. He ran into many obstacles upon his arrival because he said he had to figure it out all by himself.
The big challenge when I came here, it was like housing. Housing is a big thing, and you, especially in this hot weather, they're coming with the kids. Most of Afghans I know, they will show up here with the kids.
The first group of recent refugees arrived in Phoenix from Afghanistan in early September. As Hadari knows, these migrants face many challenges coming to a new country, but our expensive housing market and decreased housing availability poses a specific threat.
You know, right now we're so short on inventory. Until that inventory levels out a little bit, I think that that's going to continue the way that it is until the inventory, stabilizes, if you will.
Gundis's company works with refugee resettlement programs to find affordable housing. It's important in a housing market that saw a 29% increase in prices, according to Standard & Poor's.
I don't want them to face the same challenges that I did when I came.
When Hadari came to Phoenix last year, he had nowhere to go because he didn't apply for any resettlement programs. Now he works for an organization called RICE, which helps the refugee community. Hadari and others like him worry for their future in America, but they cannot escape the reality of relatives left behind.
I say back at home, I have my siblings there, my mom there. They're facing the same threats.
Life in the United States is ultimately a dream for many refugees. Safety and the ability to live out the lives they want to is why they look for sanctuary in the States. Afghan refugees here on special immigrant visa receive $1,200 a month for housing. Others here on humanitarian parole may receive assistance from refugee groups, but are not guaranteed government help with rent. In the newsroom, Payne, Cronkite News. As the wind blows in Kingman, Arizona, Eddie Patillo is reminded of what traveled with it in the 1950s and what it has cost him.
Serious cancer.
The United States conducted close to 200 nuclear weapons tests from 1945 to 1962. Patillo grew up in Kingman, and the shadow of those tests hung over him throughout his childhood.
I was a lifeguard at Catherine Landing in Bullhead City, and there were a bunch of government people who had Geiger counters and things that came in with swimming after the test went off.
This playground at Palo Christi Elementary School, now closed, is where the late Sharon Patillo said she saw the mushroom cloud from across the hill, over 150 miles away. The kids thought the blast was exciting, but there's so much more to it than that. Those clouds carried radioactive material hundreds of miles to the neighborhoods of Patillo and thousands of others. They're part of the downwinders, people who experienced ill health because they were exposed to the fallout from Nevada nuclear tests.
In 1990, Congress established RECA in order to allow people that lived in the area some compensation.
Currently, residents in 5 Arizona counties are covered by the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, or RECA, but parts of Mojave County, the part that includes Kingman, was left out for reasons Representative Paul Gosar says was not intentional.
That it was an administrative error, and we've tried to correct it every which way but loose.
The Downwinders Parity Act was introduced in late 2021 to fix this error and expand compensation to all of Mojave County, Arizona, and Clark County, Nevada. According to Representative Greg Stanton, this bill is about more than money.
It's about the United States government acknowledging that they did wrong to these families and saying to these families, we see you, we understand the pain that you're going through, we care about you, and we want to make sure that you receive justice.
For Kim Patillo, she just wants help for the dad she loves.
He's just in a lot of pain. I mean, we spent, was it last Sunday, in the ER for 6 hours because he had huge amount of pain.
Eddie Patillo is currently battling colon cancer. He's also survived bladder cancer, both types covered under RECA. But because Patillo lives in Kingman, he has to pay for treatment on his own. According to his family, so far, they've paid $12,000 out of their pockets.
You know, what to do when he goes away, and that's just not a conversation you'd like to have.
But Patillo isn't dwelling on his illness.
This is a Joshua.
He still finds time for projects around the house.
But I never let the disability of the illnesses slow me down much, I don't think. Except I have to use a cane now.
He's still living his life with the wind at his back. In Kingman, Raven Payne, Cronkite News.